YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. We're going to be continuing our business segment. So we're going to talk about a few different things that, follow your research and follow things like that. Now, again, because we will be doing a marketing video later, if you are interested in a little bit more in depth about why we're talking about each one of these and how we came to the conclusions, the recommendations we make, you need to go check out our Patreon page, because there we are going into more in depth into what happened in our lives that led us to say what we're saying here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about here, if you're going to run an actual reptile business, is like there's a lot of things that you need, like whatever's rising out of the table right there, right? See that? Equipment. You need equipment. So you've got to get your snake equipment before you get a bunch of snakes. You got to have a place to put them. The main equipment you're going to need is this ball python. If you're doing that, you really don't need a hook. Although I do like to have a small hook even when dealing with babies. Not because of getting bits, horrible, but they will break their teeth. And this is a great way to prevent that. It's a great way to make them happier and you happier. So if you want a small hook, get a small hook. You can get them from gethook.com. No, gethook.com is not one of our sponsors. However, they did hook us with some really cool shit, and they did offer our patrons a discount, which I think is still ongoing. So, again, if you're on Patreon and you want to get a hook, we got discounts for you. Not that I'm marketing. The other thing to look at is equipment. So when it comes to equipment, your main expense is going to be your racks, correct? You're going to need racks. Look, I know we did a video talking about a rack versus a glass cage and all that, and our conclusion was do whatever suits you best, and I still believe that to this day. But if you're going to breed, ball pythons, specific to ball pythons, again, not all species are appropriate for racks. Ball pythons are. If you're going to breed ball pythons, get some racks, put away the glass cages, okay? Just stop. You're not going to get anything done with those. You're not. You think you will. Somebody's like, I want to breed ball pythons. I'm going to do it in aquariums, and you rack people are just dirty, evil rack people. Yeah. Call me in 5 years when you're no longer in the business. Or call me in 5 years and go, yeah, dude, you were right, man. Them fucking racks rock. So you got two ways of doing racks. We're not even going to talk about the glass anymore. One is like what we've done here, where we have bought from TGR. And you don't have to use TGR. We recommend TGR. Speaking of TGR, Patreon members also get a discount on TGR. They are our favorites, so we do recommend tall grass, but there are other companies out there. In some aspect, you do kind of get what you pay for at times. What I really like about TGR racks, is you can buy them as a 5 stack at a time, so 5 and 10. So when you're first starting your business, if you're only going to need, maybe so many certain tubs, you could do 10 and 10, or 5 and 5, or whatever. Mix and match however you want to do it, and you don't have to have as much capital cash outlay right away as you would if you were wanting to buy one big old wall of metal racks. Some of the metal rack companies have kind of gone to that a little bit, but I really like being able to buy a 5 stack at a time. I think it is much more wallet friendly for a guy first beginning out, unless there's just a lot of money you have to invest. And if you do, get what the fuck you want. Option 2 is you can build your own racks. Now, if you're very, very handy and you're very, very good with tools, build them yourself, man. But I'm going to tell you, people are going to say it's so much cheaper. It is cheaper. It will save you money. It will not save you as much money as you think, because these tubs are not cheap, okay? You're going to buy tubs. I don't think anybody has an injection plastic molding machine at their house. And if you do, man, your fucking game is way up here. But I do not, and neither does the vast majority of people. And if you're going to go and you're going to buy, the big Sterilite tubs for your adult females, you're going to spend about $9 per tub. After taxes, it's going to be about $10 a tub. Fair enough? So right here to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 in just tubs. And then, you got to buy your wood, you got to buy your heat source, hopefully not using certain kinds of wood. XPVC plastic is what these are made out of, which I really, really like, by the way. When you start putting all that together, yes, you save money building your own. Is it enough to make it worth building your own? I don't know. I like this professional built shit. I'll show you why. Look how easy it opens. There's a lot of weight in this tub. Okay, there is an axanthic pastel female who's an adult, and there's also my zebra bee male. They've been breeding. Don't mind the little poop spots. See that? When you see a lot of that laying around, it's pretty common in a tub where they've been breeding. That was actually freshly cleaned. That's why it's so wet. But they all simply open that easy. Another lot of snakes. A lot of weight there. And it opens and closes easy. Also, the humidity that's held in them, and they're designed very, very well. I like the molded in water cups. Some do, some don't. People are going to say, oh, that looks horribly disgusting inside. Let me show you a trick. See, look. All the water inside looks pretty good. Very little substrate in there. However, when I wash these out, crap does get in the bottom there. So it will make your water dishes look disgusting. I don't know if Kurt can see that. Looks bad. But it's all shit that's trapped underneath. Looks clean. See, I have to do things like this now because some of you will be like, ah, look at that nasty water dish. Yeah, eat an ass. It's not. Trust me. It's the way it works. But you can, like I say, save you some money. You make the decision on how you want to do it. I can tell you we've done both. My first rack, it was homemade by somebody else. We had to take it apart, reassemble it in the house, replace the heat cable, which was like this 800-watt cable for melting snow in Canada off your fucking roof, and redo everything. And it worked. We had a few escapees on it. It was always shaky. It looked like crap too. So when you brought a customer over and here's this old crappy looking rack, I was always like, man, you know, I mean, these get some coconut and crap on them, and I could do a better job of keeping that all nice. I wish I would have went with like Alex did here, the black. They just don't show dirt as much as the white, but I was already committed. But nothing looks worse than a shitty built rack. These look great when people come, especially if I just go, whoop, wipe them down, a little Clorox bleach wipe or something. They look wonderful, and it makes you look a step above. If your building skills can build something of this quality, and some people's can, dude, do it. It's up to you if you want to spend that much time and effort. Or buy. Plenty of good rack makers out there. So that's the first thing. Get your equipment ready. Racks, you're going to need those. Substrate, you're going to need that. I recommend using some form of coconut. We like Reptile Prime. I also like Reptichip. It's probably my 1A, 1B. Echo Earth is good. Like all of those. Something with coconut is my favorite. It holds moisture very, very well. You're going to need that and a source of that. Also, if you're starting with babies, you don't need an incubator right away. If you're starting with adults, you better have one. But plan for an incubator. We home built ours. There was nothing we saw in the market at the time that I looked at and said, oh, that blows me away. That would hold what I wanted to hold and would work the way I wanted to work it without eating up a lot of the space inside. We designed our own, and it's worked very, very, very well for us over the years. This year's been a little rougher, but I don't think it's the incubator. I think it was the move. The previous several years on incubator, just it rocked. So there's a few things on that. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is a big one, guys, is this is your planning for your animal acquisition.
Would you
So,
need thermostats?
Oh yeah, you'll need thermostats. I mean, I should have included that with racks, but you'll need thermostats with your racks. You're going to probably need some big power strips to plug everything into. I mean, there's just things you're going to need. So kind of make a list, check it twice, price it all, get it done. Thermostat, don't build that yourself. Don't. Just buy one. I prefer something that does proportional. A lot of people really like the Freedom Breeder ones right now. They're pretty good. I've got a few of those. I still prefer the Herpstat. I think it's easier to use, easier menus. Again, I'm used to it. That might be part of it. And as you can see, we have a Herpstat 6 and a Herpstat 2s and a Herpstat 1. To me, my favorite is probably the Herpstat 2. Here's why. I can look at that Herpstat 2. I can see the temperature of both probes. I can see what percentage it's running at, 0% and 30%. So I know exactly, this went to 0, back to 30, see it kind of bounced around there. I know exactly what's going on with that. On the Herpstat 6, I can just see the temperatures. I have to scroll through the menu to see the percentages. These, it's boom, right there. Look, I know. So that's kind of my favorite ones. But it is cheaper to buy 6 than it is to buy 3 2s. So there is that aspect. The next thing I want to talk about is animal acquisition. So if you've done your research, like we talked about in the previous video, right, then you already know your genetics. I'm going to base this off of you knowing your genetics. So the first thing to decide is, do you want to do babies versus adults? Babies are going to be cheaper. Okay, adults are going to be more expensive. Babies are going to take longer to mature, obviously. Adults, people like them because they're ready now. Proven breeder females for sale. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When you're buying a proven breeder female, I have done it. I'm looking at acquiring some right now. But I always ask one question. Why? I love when people have babies, because I have a lot of people go, man, I'm having a new baby. I just don't have the time. I'm not keeping up with shit the same as I need to, yada, yada, yada. Or I need money because I got to, do nursery, whatever. That's a good reason. When they don't really have a good reason, here's my favorite excuse. Oh, it just doesn't fit my projects anymore. Really? So do you have so much space, and maybe they do, that you have to get rid of your adult multi-gene females? Or is it that that female's a pain in the ass, only lays every 3 years and has small clutches? Do your research. Ask questions. Definitely ask questions. You know, the ones we're looking at right now, the reason we're looking at them is the subjects that's selling them is going out of the country for multiple years. That's why he's getting rid of stuff. That's a viable reason for why somebody's getting rid of things. It just doesn't really fit my plans anymore. So it fit your plans last year and this year it magically doesn't. I always wonder why. Maybe I'm a little bit more cynical than most, but a lot of times, you know, if people are going to part, let's say I have this entire wall filled with females the way I want. I don't have any more room for adult females. I got my grow-ups coming up, and I need to get rid of some females. Do you think I'm going to get rid of the girls who drop a consistent 8 and 9 egg clutch every year? Even if their gene count's a little lower, when I got 4 and 5 gene males I can throw to them. Probably fucking not, right? I'm going to pick this girl who only throws a clutch every other year and drops 4 eggs and 5 slugs, or 3 eggs and 6 slugs. That's who I'm going to part with. I'm not going to part with my rock stars. I'm going to part with my less producers, most likely. That's human nature, right? So that's why I personally prefer to buy babies. I think you have a higher percentage of getting a good snake. Just me. Now, again, if there's a good reason for why they're selling them, okay. If they can't provide that, find you a different sucker. So I like to buy a lot of babies. Now, babies, you will have a 2-year investment at minimum, probably 3 years on your females for the ready. Your males usually about a year and a half. The different genetics you pick are going to make a huge difference in what you have. What I mean by that is it's going to affect your cost of investment and your return on investment. So let's say you want to go with, you know, your recessives. Recessives tend to hold value better than your, you know, incomplete dominant genes. You know, I've seen, we'll pick on banana. When we first got into this business, when I first started, bananas were 10 grand. When Kurt first hopped on, they were like 7.5 grand. We bought a banana a few years in later at $250. That's how incomplete dominant shit works, man. Bananas got hit a little harder than normal because of the sex linking issue, but that's par for the course, guys. Things like that tend to drop. The super versions and the recessive versions or recessive genes hold value longer because they take longer. They're harder to work with. So if you do things like, for me, Xanthic. Now, Xanthic, I picked for love of Xanthic. It is not the most valuable of the recessives, not anywhere near it. Pied is a great recessive to work with. It's been selling for about $350 since I got into this, right? Clown is a really good recessive to work with. I've seen a little bit of a dip in the clown market recently, but not very much, and they've held value very, very well. They're a great recessive to work with. You see me working a lot of Xanthic, which actually I've kind of seen an uptick in, believe it or not, over the last few years. I'd like to think maybe we're a part of that. Probably not, but it still feels good to believe that. And then I also like to work with ghosts. When we first got into ghosts, couldn't give one away. Their market has kind of strengthened a little bit as well, but nothing too crazy. You're still going to find ghosts for a very reasonable price. So obviously I wasn't picking my recessive based on making an ass load of money. It is what it is. But they do hold. They're not going to drop like a pastel. They're not going to drop like a spider. They're not going to drop like a lesser or a cinnamon or a black pastel. Those things have been out forever and are very, very common. These do better. The other thing to look at is your combos. And combos are very, very important to think about when you're going to breed. I will give you an example. Who do I want to show off? You're not my favorite one. You're the one I like better. I'm going to leave her be because their tails are touching. We'll go back to this one. I know, girly. Come here. You just got bigger eyes. This is a blue-eyed leucistic, commonly called a bell. It's a super lesser bell. It's frickin' beautiful, okay? It's beautiful, enough said. These have been selling for about $400 since I got into this hobby, okay? $400, bam, right there. Guess what makes them? I can't show them to you because they're being used for breeding right now. 2 lessers, okay? 2 lessers. See Kurt point over there, that one's being used for breeding too. All my lesser stuff is doing the, yeah. or hopefully. And when I opened up, that's actually what that pairing was. We can kind of show the back half of that again, I guess. So this pairing right here, oh, coconut on you, girlie, that is a lesser to a bell. If that happens, and what I mean, they're not locked, but he's kind of rubbing, so I don't want to disturb him too much. And they may have already locked. If that happens, I can expect half the clutch to be bells, and I can expect half the clutch to be lessers. This particular bell might have pastel in it, so that's kind of what we're looking to prove out. What that would give me, okay, on snakes, let's say we're planning some pairings here. If I wanted to do a lot of bells, so I'm going to be a guy doing bells. Problem with bells, this is why you got to plan your return on investment. There's not very far to go after that. When you add more genes into a bell, it's still visually a bell. It doesn't increase the value very much. And if some guy's wanting to buy a cool pet snake, and you got your bell plus this, plus this, plus this, and it's selling for X amount of dollars, and this guy over here selling a plain Jane bell that looks the exact same, guess what they're going to buy? Plain Jane bell, right? People also are going to doubt the genetics that are in it because they can't see them. So it's hard to know for sure, right? So that is one issue on bells. But let's say you wanted to work a project for bells. You've got to do your research on your return of investment. It's a great project because what I would do is I would buy 3 lesser females, right? Say I want to do bells. If I want to throw an extra kicker gene, if they got like pastel in them or something else, cool, bonus, not too worried about it. But if I buy 3 straight lesser females, you're probably going to be $300 or under for those. Talking babies again. I'm going to set on those 3 girls for a year, let them get some meat on them. Then I'm going to turn around, I'm going to go ahead and drop the $400 on a bell male. Whew! Now I'm $700 deep. $700 deep in a bell project. Okay, by the next year, let's say 3 years in, all of those are ready to breed. Now I've spent $400 plus $300, spent $700 on animals, spent, I don't know, a lot of money feeding them if I'm not growing my own rats. But then I'm going to take that male bell, I'm going to put it to those 3 lessers. Let's say we get 6, 12, 18 eggs. Let's say 16 of those 18 eggs do well. Should be about right. You probably actually get 18 out of 18 or 17 out of 18. My first few years, you did 100%. But, you know, we'll go 16 for you, just for fun. That'd say we hit the odds right where we should. That would mean 8 bells. Okay, 8 bells and also 8 lessers. Out of those 8 bells, if you sell them for the same $400, since bell's been holding its value really, really well, that is, 8 times 4 is $3,200. Okay, if you sell those other ones for 75 to 90, depending on male or female, you're looking at another, say, $500. I'm not going to do the math, but you're looking at a $3,500 to $3,700 return on your original investment of $700. Now, of course, you've had to feed, and that's saying nothing goes wrong. That's a pretty good return on investment, right? I mean, so animal acquisition makes a difference. Now, let's do something a little different. This is why you got to do your research. Let's just say you go and you bought, a really cool pied male because he's freaking awesome, and you bought 2 other males because males are awesome, and you weren't thinking about animal acquisition, and the males are cheaper. So fuck yeah, man, you're buying these cool looking males. Then you go, shit, I need to get my females. So you go buy some proven breeder females, and you get 2 pastels and a normal. Yeah! Those pastel breeder females are going to cost you probably $200 if they're proven, let's say. So you're going to be $400, $100. You're going to be $500 in your females, a little bit more of that in your males. But you're ready in a year now, right? You're ready in a year. Woohoo! Maybe 2 years, because it took you a while. Well, those females, you bought them from a guy, they all suck. So you get nothing, 4, and 2. So you get your 6 eggs, and guess what you're making? Pastels het pied. It's going to be hard to sell for much more than a pastel. So picking your animals properly makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference. Now, if you're going to do a recessive project, you want to get your females first always. I don't care if it's breed-ready females or not. Be hunting your females first. Get your girls. Get the genetics you want. If I'm going to try to be in for less money on a recessive project, I'm probably going to go with het females. I'm probably going to try to find kicker genes with everything. So maybe if I want to do a pied project, maybe I want to do a black pastel het pied, maybe a pastel het pied, and maybe a banana het pied female. Maybe not. Maybe we'll leave that one for a minute and I'll tell you why. Maybe we'll do a, mahogany het pied. You're going to pay dearly for that one, but it's worth it. You're going to spend a lot more money laying it out. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to buy my male a year later and I'm going to get a banana pied. So I'm going to pay out the ass for him too. You're going to have a little bit larger investment, but you're going to be making that recessive, and you're going to be making recombos throughout. And you're going to be making snakes worth a decent amount of money, really good money actually, when you do that. You just got to make sure you have a way to sell those snakes that are high end when the time comes, which is also another thing we'll get to. But you can see how planning your animal acquisition is going to make a difference. So what I would suggest when you're going to say, okay, I got my equipment, I've done my research, I know what I want to get to and what I want to sell, I would sit down with a sheet of paper, or if you don't want to use paper, computer, or if somebody says, boomer idea using paper, eat my asshole, you can use cell phone, whatever. Make you some notes. Don't care how you do it, doesn't matter. About what you want to get, do your pricing research, take it with you, take yourself to a show. I prefer buying at shows over online. One, you're going to save money on shipping. Okay. Two, you can see the animal in person. When you go on a place like Morph Market, if you're buying from somebody you've never heard of, buyer beware. Do some research. See if anybody else has bought from them. Try to find some information out there. Maybe it's there. Maybe you roll the dice and it works out great. Maybe you roll the dice and it doesn't. I mean, it's hard to say. But you want to kind of, if you go to that show, even if you've never heard of that person, they're standing there in front of you and you can talk to them and you can see the animals and you can do all that. I feel better. Now, if I had to go Morph Market to get something, the only guy that had it was somebody I'd never heard of, there's going to be a lot of conversations back and forth. I'm going to want to see some pictures. I'm going to want to see some things and make sure I know that A, he knows what he or she knows what they're talking about. B, the animal is really there and it's not a scam. And as much information as I can get before I make that purchase. Just throwing that out there. A lot of people have been burned online. It happens. Less people have been burned in person, I think. It's harder to burn somebody in person. But once I make that acquisition, I'm going to have my notes. I'm going to know what I want. I'm going to go with a goal in mind. I'm going to stay on task. I'm going to acquire the animals that I'm looking for. I've gone to shows. Last show we went to, we still do this. We went to Florida. Kurt didn't get to make the trip, and I had a literal list of things I wanted to buy and wanted to find in Florida. I got everything on the list that I was looking for, save one animal. I could not find one, even at that show, and I just didn't get it. I did get some things that weren't on the list. Shit, that's going to happen, guys. It just is. Before I did, though, if you have a business partner, I called my business partner and I said, hey, I want to spend this much money on this. I also had a budget in mind. I knew what my budget was. When I went in with the budget, I knew there was a decent chance if I found something else I couldn't live without or tried to package something together, I may go over budget. Or if I found everything. I think Kurt knew that as well. But before I went over budget, what did I do, Kurt? I called and I had that discussion. Animal acquisition and finances go hand in hand. I mean, I wasn't going to just do that. I'm like, surprise! I went over budget. That's fucked. Don't do that to your partner. Never do that shit. That's another video for another day. But your animal acquisition, especially early on, is going to make a huge difference in your business. Truth be told, guys, if I'm totally honest, I didn't do the best job of animal acquisition early on. I bought a lot of shit that had a goal in mind of Exanthic, and my Exanthic projects are kind of where I want them to be. I'm really extremely happy with my years in and where I'm at on that. Other stuff was kind of willy-nilly here and there, and I had to kind of learn that lesson the hard way. What I'm telling you guys coming in new, have your projects, and me, I was laser focused. Zebra bee, zebra bee, zebra bee, zebra bee, zebra bee. Made it. Have more than one focus. Have some different projects. That way you're not animal acquisition on the fly. I did a lot of that. It's worked out okay, but I'm here to tell you, had I planned every trip like I did that Florida trip, knowing what I was looking for, knowing the budget I was going in with, and looking for those things specifically, and then not getting sucked into every shiny thing I saw. Now there's some shiny shit I saw I came back and I'm doing research on, I'm thinking about adding later, but I didn't just go, oh my God, here's a credit card. You know what I mean? I didn't do that. I would probably be in a better place than I am today. With a better variety of animals and some other cool shit that I've been in on earlier. I think we'd be in a better spot. Live and learn. I want you to do it better than I did it, right? You shouldn't have to learn that lesson the hard way. And if you do, don't blame me, because I told you I learned it the hard way. You don't need to. Kurt, anything you'd like to add?
No.
All right, guys. I think that's all. We're going to go to Patreon and talk about how we learned that lesson the hard way.